My mom was placed in a psych ward for attacking her boss at work. 4 weeks later, my dad was dating that same boss and insisting I call her mom. The whole thing started when my mom, Lisa, supposedly had a complete mental breakdown at her accounting job downtown. According to Dad, she just snapped one day during a routine team meeting and physically attacked her supervisor, Rachel, screaming accusations that made no sense to anyone there. Dad explained that Mom had been acting increasingly strange for weeks leading up to the incident, not sleeping through the night, talking to herself in the kitchen, becoming paranoid about people following her car. Classic signs of a psychological break, he said with this sad, resigned tone that made me feel sorry for him. When I asked if I could visit Mom in the psychiatric hospital, Dad said the doctors strongly recommended no family contact during her initial stabilization phase. Too much stimulation could make her condition worse. I accepted this because I trusted Dad completely back then. Rachel started coming around our house almost immediately after Mom was admitted. At first, Dad explained she was just being supportive because she felt terrible about what happened at work. She'd bring homemade casseroles and ask how we were coping with the sudden change. But then I started noticing Rachel knew things about our family she had no business knowing, like where we kept the spare house key, what brand of coffee Dad preferred for his morning routine, and that I was severely allergic to shellfish. When I mentioned this seemed strange, Dad got unusually defensive. He said Mom probably talked about personal stuff with coworkers more than I realized, that people shared details about their home life at the office all the time, but this felt different, more intimate than casual workplace conversation. 3 weeks after Mom was committed, Rachel was staying for dinner almost every single night. She'd rearrange items in our kitchen cabinets and suggest we redecorate the living room with lighter colors. Dad seemed to agree with every suggestion she made, which was completely unlike his usual stubborn personality. When I finally got permission to visit Mom at the hospital, she looked genuinely confused when I mentioned Rachel being around our house so much. Mom said Rachel was known at the office for being cold and strictly professional with all employees, never engaging in personal conversations. She'd never shared family details with anyone at work, especially not someone in management. Mom also insisted she hadn't actually attacked Rachel that day. She said she discovered something suspicious in the office computer files and tried to confront Rachel privately about it, but couldn't remember exactly what happened next. The medication made everything feel foggy and disconnected, she explained. That weekend when I got home, Rachel had moved her personal belongings into Dad's bedroom. When I objected to how fast things were moving, Dad snapped at me in a way he never had before. He said I needed to accept that Mom wasn't coming home anytime soon, maybe never, that Rachel was trying to help our family heal and I should be grateful instead of suspicious. I started paying closer attention to their conversations when they thought I wasn't listening. Rachel would mention specific dates and times, asking Dad if he was absolutely sure about certain details, like they were coordinating their stories about something important. The financial documents I found while searching for my birth certificate showed Dad had withdrawn exactly $20,000 from their joint savings account. The withdrawal was dated 2 days before Mom's supposed breakdown. The same day, Rachel had made a large cash deposit into her personal checking account. Last night, I overheard Rachel talking on her phone in Dad's bedroom, saying the new medication adjustments were working perfectly and Mom's memory of that day was completely erased now, that they just needed to wait a few more weeks before making the arrangement permanent. When I confronted Dad this morning about what I'd overheard, he and Rachel exchanged the exact same look I'd noticed before, the same calculating expression they'd shared the day before Mom disappeared, and that's when I finally understood what they'd really done to get her out of the way. I stare at my bedroom ceiling, unable to sleep. Dad and Rachel's faces keep flashing in my mind, that calculating look they'd shared, the same one from the day before Mom disappeared. It wasn't just suspicion anymore, I knew. My laptop glows in the darkness as I type Rachel Winters Accounting into the search bar. Her LinkedIn profile appears first executive accounting manager at Meridian Financial Services, the same firm where Mom worked. Professional headshot, perfect smile, immaculate credentials, nothing suspicious on the surface. I click through to her Facebook profile, which is mostly private, but her profile picture is public. Rachel, on a beach, somewhere tropical, sunglasses perched on her head, cocktail in hand. I'm about to close the tab when I notice something in the corner of the image. A familiar watch. Dad's watch. The vintage Omega his father gave him. My heart pounds as I scroll through her public photos. Most are locked behind privacy settings, but a handful from last year are visible. A sunset dinner at Castello's, Dad's favorite Italian restaurant. A hiking trip at Redwood National Park, all dated months before Mom's breakdown. I click on a photo from 8 months ago. Rachel and Dad, arms around each other at some charity gala. Mom had the flu that weekend. Dad said he was going alone. They've been together this whole time, I whisper to my empty room. I close my laptop and tiptoe down the hallway. Dad's bedroom door is closed, but I can hear the shower running in the master bathroom. Rachel must be in there. Dad's probably downstairs. His phone sits unattended on the kitchen counter while he rummages in the refrigerator. I grab it quickly, retreating to the pantry where I can see him through the slats in the door. Password, I mutter. I try Mom's birthday. Nothing. Their anniversary. Nothing. My birthday. The screen unlocks. I go straight to his text messages. Rachel's name is at the top of the list. I tap it and my stomach drops. The conversation goes back over a year. Lisa's getting suspicious about the transfers. We need to move faster. Don't worry. She won't find the offshore accounts. Just keep her distracted. Meeting with Dr. Feldman tomorrow. He'll write the prescriptions we need if the price is right. I scroll frantically, taking screenshots with my own phone. The messages get more explicit as they approach the date of Mom's breakdown. Everything's in place. Just make sure you're at the meeting tomorrow. Follow the plan exactly. I hear Dad's footsteps approaching and quickly place his phone exactly where I found it, slipping out the opposite pantry door just as he enters the kitchen. Back in my room, I pull out the voice recorder app on my phone. Dad taught me about gathering evidence when I did that mock trial project last year. Always get it in their own words, he'd said. Ironic advice now. I place my phone inside the decorative vase on the hallway table, recording activated, and then make a show of going downstairs to get water. As I return, I hear Rachel and Dad in the study, door slightly ajar. She's getting too curious. Rachel's voice is sharp. I saw her watching us at breakfast. She's just a kid, Dad replies. What's she going to do? Kids aren't stupid, David. She could ruin everything. The plan worked perfectly. Lisa's locked away, the money's secure, and in another month we can finalize the divorce while she's still declared incompetent. And if your daughter starts digging, then we'll handle it. The same way we handled Lisa. I freeze, my water glass nearly slipping from my hand. The casual cruelty in his voice, this stranger who looks like my father, makes me physically ill. My phone buzzes in my pocket, not the one recording, but my personal phone. Unknown number. I step quietly into my bedroom before answering. Hello? Honey? The voice is weak, slurred. Mom, how are you calling me? I whisper, closing my door. Payphone. In the common room. Listen to me. Her words are labored, like she's fighting through fog. Don't trust them. Your father. Rachel. They did something to me. I know, Mom. I'm figuring it out. The files. I found. Her voice fades in and out. Offshore accounts. Millions. Your dad and Rachel. They've been stealing from clients for years. Mom, I need to get you out of there. No! The sudden force in her voice startles me. Not safe. They're drugging me. Changing my medication. Every time I start to think clearly, they increase the dosage. I hear voices in the background on her end. Time's up, Mrs. Coleman. A stern male voice. Mom, I'll find a way to help you. I promise. The blue notebook in my closet, she manages to say before the line goes dead. I sit on my bed, trembling. Dad and Rachel didn't just have an affair. They didn't just frame Mom for assault. They stole millions, and they're keeping her drugged and institutionalized so she can't expose them. I retrieve my phone from the hallway vase, saving the recording of their conversation. Then I sneak into Mom's closet, pushing aside her clothes that Rachel hasn't thrown out yet. Behind a stack of sweaters is a small blue notebook. Inside are dates, account numbers, transaction records, all in Mom's neat accountant handwriting. Evidence of everything she discovered before they silenced her. I hear footsteps in the hallway and quickly hide the notebook under my mattress. Dad knocks once before opening my door. Hey kiddo, everything okay? Thought I heard you talking to someone. I force a smile. Just watching videos on my phone. He studies my face for a moment, and I wonder if he can see the horror and disgust I'm trying to hide. Rachel and I are thinking of redecorating the house next weekend. Give it a fresh start. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. You should help us pick out some new furniture for the living room. Sure, Dad, I lie. Sounds great. After he closes the door, I sit in the darkness, clutching Mom's notebook to my chest. I'm terrified of what they might do if they discover I know the truth, but I'm more terrified of what will happen to Mom if I do nothing. Tomorrow, I'll start gathering more evidence. I need to be smart about this, smarter than they think I am. Mom's life depends on it. I'm back at the hospital today, but this time I'm prepared. The voice recorder app is running on my phone, tucked into the pocket of my hoodie. I've practiced turning it on and off without looking, making sure I can capture whatever Mom might say without anyone noticing. The psychiatric ward is depressing, all beige walls and fluorescent lights that make everyone look sickly. A nurse I haven't seen before leads me to the common area where Mom sits alone at a table, staring out the window. Lisa, your child is here to see you, the nurse announces in that patronizing tone they all seem to use. Mom turns slowly, her movements sluggish like she's underwater. Hey Mom, I say, sitting across from her. She looks worse than last time, thinner, with dark circles under her eyes. Her hands tremble slightly as she reaches for mine. They increased my medication again, she whispers once the nurse walks away. I can barely think straight. I glance around to make sure no one is watching us closely, then lean in. I found your blue notebook, Mom, and I've been gathering evidence. The recordings, the text messages between Dad and Rachel. Mom's eyes widen slightly, a flash of clarity breaking through the medication fog. The company records, she says, her voice low and urgent. I found discrepancies in client accounts, millions redirected to offshore holdings. Is that why they did this to you? I ask. She nods, gripping my hand tighter. I confronted Rachel first, thought she might not know what was happening, but Mom's voice trails off, her gaze drifting back to the window. Mom, stay with me, I urge gently. What happened when you confronted Rachel? She laughed, Mom says, her eyes focusing again. Said I should talk to your father about it. That's when I realized they were in it together. The next day at the team meeting, I was going to announce what I'd found, but something was wrong with my coffee. I felt dizzy, confused. They said I attacked Rachel, but I don't remember that at all. A male nurse approaches with a small paper cup containing pills. Medication time, Lisa. Medication time. Mom takes the cup with shaking hands. Once he walks away, she leans forward. They're erasing my memory with these. Every time I start remembering details, they increase the dosage. I watch as she pretends to swallow the pills, but actually slips them into her sleeve. The small act of rebellion gives me hope that my mom is still fighting. I'll get you out of here, I promise. Just hang on a little longer. When I get home, the house smells like fresh paint. I freeze in the entryway, staring at the living room. All of Mom's things are gone, her favorite reading chair, the family photos, the quilt her grandmother made. In their place are modern, angular furniture pieces in gray and white. Rachel emerges from the kitchen, wearing an apron with paint splatter on it. What do you think? Fresh start, right? I can't hide my horror. Where's Mom's stuff? Oh, we donated most of it, Rachel says casually. Your father and I agreed the house needed updating. Too many painful memories. You had no right, I say, my voice shaking. Those were Mom's things. Rachel's smile hardens. Your father had every right. This is his house too. And Lisa won't be needing those things anymore. Dad appears behind her, his arm sliding around her waist. Hey kiddo, what do you think of the new look? Rachel has amazing taste, doesn't she? I want to scream at him, but I remember what's at stake. I need to keep gathering evidence. It's different. I manage. We have news, Dad says, exchanging a look with Rachel. I was going to wait until dinner, but Rachel holds up her left hand, displaying a massive diamond ring. We're engaged! My stomach drops. Engaged? But Mom's only been gone a few months. Dad's expression darkens. Your mother and I were having problems long before her incident. Rachel has been a blessing for both of us. Both of us? I repeat incredulously. We're having a celebration dinner tomorrow night, Rachel interjects. We've invited some friends from work and your father's golf buddies. You'll be there, of course. It's not a question, it's a command. Actually, I have a you'll be there. Dad cuts me off, his tone brooking no argument. Family supports family. Later that night, I sneak into Dad's home office. I know he keeps medical documents in the filing cabinet, and I need to see mom's treatment plan. The drawer slides open silently, and I flip through the folders until I find one labeled Lisa, Medical. Inside are forms from the psychiatric hospital, including medication orders. I photograph each page with my phone, my hands trembling when I see the dosage increases. Every time mom had a visitor, specifically me, her medication was adjusted upward the following day. The most recent order, dated just yesterday, doubles her previous dose. At the bottom of each form is a note, recommended by R. Winters, approved by Dr. Feldman. Rachel is controlling mom's medication, and according to these records, the current dosage is dangerously high. I hear footsteps in the hallway and quickly return the folder, sliding the drawer closed just as the office door opens. Rachel stands there in silk pajamas, her head tilted. What are you doing in your father's office? Looking for a phone charger, I lie, holding up my phone. Mine died. She studies me for a long moment, her eyes cold and calculating. Your father keeps spare chargers in the kitchen drawer. You know that, right? I forgot, I say, moving toward the door. She doesn't step aside immediately, forcing me to squeeze past her. You know, she says casually, your mother had trouble remembering things too. It started with small details, then progressed to more significant memory issues. The doctors say it can be hereditary. The threat is clear. If I keep investigating, I could end up just like mom, drugged and institutionalized. My memories systematically erased. I'm not forgetting anything, I say, meeting her gaze. In fact, I remember everything very clearly. Rachel's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Good. Then you'll remember to be on your best behavior at our engagement dinner tomorrow. Your father would be so disappointed if his only child couldn't be happy for him during this special time. I nod and walk away, my heart pounding. As I reach my bedroom, my phone buzzes with a text from Dad. Rachel says you were in my office. Stay out of things that don't concern you. I sit on my bed, surrounded by the few photos of mom I managed to hide before Rachel could throw them away. Time is running out. The medication increases. The engagement, the complete erasure of mom from our home. They're accelerating their plan. Tomorrow at the engagement dinner, I'll have to pretend to celebrate while mom sits alone in that hospital, fighting to hold on to her memories. But I won't let them win. I've got recordings, screenshots, and now medical documents proving they're deliberately keeping mom drugged. I just need to figure out who can help us before it's too late. After visiting mom, I'm more determined than ever to uncover what Dad and Rachel are hiding. I need solid evidence, not just my suspicions, so I dig through mom's contact list and find Elaine Mercer, the senior accountant, who worked closely with mom at Meridian Financial. I wasn't sure you'd remember me, I say when Elaine agrees to meet at a coffee shop far from Dad's usual haunts. Elaine stirs her latte, glancing nervously around the cafe. Of course I remember you. Your mom talked about you constantly. She lowers her voice. I've been worried sick about Lisa. The official story about what happened that day doesn't add up. What do you mean? Lisa was the most level-headed person in that office. Then suddenly she's screaming accusations and throwing things at Rachel? It never made sense. Elaine leans closer. The week before the incident, Lisa asked me to double-check some client account transfers. She thought she'd found discrepancies, large sums moving through shell companies. My heart races. Did you see the records? Only briefly. Lisa was keeping detailed notes, but after the incident, Rachel had IT wipe Lisa's computer, said it was company protocol after an employee termination. Elaine's eyes narrow, but I saw enough to know something wasn't right. The transfers all had your father's digital signature as the authorizing partner. I pull out my phone, showing her photos of the pages from mom's blue notebook. Do these match what you saw? App? Elaine's eyes widen. Yes, these are the account numbers. Where did you get this? Mom hid it before they took her away. I swallow hard. Rachel and Dad are engaged now. They're planning to make mom's hospitalization permanent. Elaine's hand trembles as she sets down her coffee. This is serious. These records show systematic fraud. If Lisa was building a case, she doesn't finish the sentence, but I understand the implication. I need to get more evidence, I say. Rachel has an office at our house. There might be something there. Be careful, Elaine warns, writing her number on a napkin. These people already put your mother in a psychiatric hospital. There's no telling what they might do if they realize you're investigating them. When I get home, the house is quiet. Dad's car isn't in the driveway, which means I have a small window of opportunity. I slip into Rachel's home office, the guest bedroom she converted when she moved in. Her laptop sits on the desk, closed but not powered down. I hesitate, knowing this crosses a line, but mom's life is at stake. The screen lights up when I open it, asking for a password. I try a few combinations: her birthday, Dad's birthday, even their anniversary date according to the engagement announcement she's drafted on the kitchen counter. Nothing works. I'm about to give up when I notice a small notebook tucked under a stack of mail. Inside are passwords for various accounts, including one labeled home laptop with the password LisaGun2023. My stomach turns as I type it in. The screen unlocks, revealing dozens of folders. I click through them quickly, searching for anything related to mom or the company accounts. In a folder labeled contingency, I find what I'm looking for: copies of the same offshore account documents mom had discovered, along with emails between Rachel and Dad discussing the Lisa situation. Once she's declared permanently incompetent, the divorce will go through automatically. One email reads, all assets will revert to you as her legal guardian, and we can transfer the remaining funds without oversight. I pull out my phone to take photos of the screen, my hands shaking so badly I have to steady them against the desk. What the hell do you think you're doing? Dad's voice makes me jump. He stands in the doorway, his face twisted with rage. Before I can respond, he lunges forward, grabbing my phone and yanking it from my hands. Dad, please, do you have any idea what you've done? He hisses, scrolling through my photos. How long have you been snooping around? I know what you did to mom, I say, finding courage in my anger. I know about the money, the offshore accounts. I know you and Rachel planned the whole thing. His face changes, the rage giving way to something colder. You don't understand anything. I understand enough. You stole money. Mom found out, so you drugged her and had her committed. Now you're keeping her medicated so she can't tell anyone what she knows. Dad grabs my arm, pulling me out of Rachel's office and into the hallway. This is adult business. You're a child playing with things you don't understand. I'm not a child. I wrench my arm away, and I'm not going to let you keep mom locked up while you and Rachel steal millions of dollars. Keep Keep your voice down, he warns, looking toward the front door. Rachel will be home any minute. Good. Let her hear the truth. Let her know I've figured it all out. Dad's expression hardens. Give me your computer. Now. What? No. Either you give me your laptop and any other devices you have, or I call Dr. Feldman right now and tell him Lisa's daughter is showing signs of the same paranoid delusions. The threat hangs in the air between us. He wouldn't, would he? The front door opens, and Rachel walks in carrying grocery bags. Her smile freezes when she sees us standing in the hallway. What's going on? She asks, setting down the bags. Our little detective here has been going through your computer, Dad says, holding up my phone, taking pictures of private documents. Rachel's face transforms instantly, all pretense of warmth vanishing. I see. She walks toward me slowly. And what exactly were you hoping to find? Evidence, I say, refusing to back down, and I found it. I know you and Dad have been stealing from clients. I know Mom discovered it, and I know you drugged her coffee at that meeting so you could claim she had a breakdown. Rachel laughs, the sound sharp and cold. You have quite an imagination, just like your mother. It's not imagination. I have proof. Elaine Mercer confirmed the account discrepancies Mom found. Rachel's smile falters slightly at the mention of Elaine's name. She exchanges a look with Dad. David, I think it's time we had an honest conversation with your child, she says. This has gone far enough. Dad nods, gesturing toward the living room. Sit down. I remain standing, not trusting either of them. I'm not sitting anywhere until you tell me the truth. The truth, Rachel says, stepping closer, is that your mother is mentally ill. The truth is that she became obsessed with conspiracy theories about company finances. The truth is that we've been trying to protect you from the reality of her condition. That's a lie, I say. I've seen the documents. I've talked to Mom. I know what you did. Rachel sighs, looking at Dad. She's clearly not going to listen to reason. We need to consider more drastic measures. What does that mean? I demand. Dad runs a hand through his hair, looking tired suddenly. It means we can't have you interfering with Lisa's treatment plan or spreading false accusations. False accusations? I have evidence. What you have, Rachel says coldly, is a collection of misunderstood documents and the ramblings of a mentally ill woman. No one will believe you over us, a respected financial executive and your own father. People will believe the truth, I insist. Rachel's laugh is chilling. Truth is subjective, especially when it comes from someone with a family history of mental illness. Your mother's permanent institutionalization is already being processed. By this time next month, she'll be transferred to a long-term care facility in another state. My blood runs cold. You can't do that. We can and we will, Rachel says. Your mother discovered something she shouldn't have, and she couldn't let it go. Now you're making the same mistake. Dad, I turn to him, desperate. How can you do this to Mom? To me? For a moment, something flickers in his eyes, regret, maybe, or shame. Then it's gone. I made my choice, he says quietly. When Lisa found those accounts, she gave me an ultimatum, turn ourselves in or she would go to the authorities. I would have lost everything, my career, my freedom, my reputation. So you chose Rachel and the money instead, I say, disgust rising in my throat. Dad doesn't deny it. Rachel offered a solution that let me keep everything I've worked for. I'm sorry about your mother, but this is how it has to be. And what about me? I ask. Are you going to have me committed too? Rachel steps forward, her voice eerily gentle. That depends entirely on you. You can accept the situation and move forward with us as a family, or you can keep pursuing this and end up sharing your mother's fate. It's your choice. The threat hangs in the air, unmistakable and terrifying. I look between them, these strangers who were once my family, and realize I'm completely alone in this house. I need some time to think, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Of course, Rachel says with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. But while you're thinking, we'll be holding onto your phone and computer for safekeeping. Dad nods in agreement. It's for your own good. You need a break from all this. Research. I retreat to my bedroom, locking the door behind me. Through the wall, I can hear them talking in low, urgent voices. I sit on my bed, heart pounding, trying to figure out my next move. They have my phone and computer, but they don't know about the voice recordings I've hidden on a USB drive inside my teddy bear, the one Mom gave me when I was 6. I need to get that evidence to someone who can help us before Rachel makes good on her threat to have me committed too. I have one chance left, and I can't afford to waste it. I wait until 3 a.m. when the house is silent. Rachel's breathing is deep, and even through Dad's cracked bedroom door as I tiptoe past. My heart pounds so loudly I'm afraid it might wake them, but I need to act now tonight before they can follow through on their threats. In my bedroom, I retrieve the USB drive hidden inside my childhood teddy bear. All the evidence is here. The recordings of Rachel and Dad discussing their plan, photos of Mom's notebook, screenshots of the incriminating emails, and pictures of the medical documents showing Rachel's control over Mom's medication. I power up the old laptop hidden under my mattress, the one Dad forgot about when he confiscated my devices. It's ancient and slow, but it connects to the internet, which is all I need right now. My hands shake as I draft an email to Aunt Caroline, Mom's sister who works as a criminal attorney in Seattle. We've never been close. She and Mom had some falling out years ago, but she's the only person I can think of who might have both the legal knowledge and family connection to help. Caroline, I know you and Mom haven't spoken in years, but she's in serious danger. Dad and Rachel Winters, Mom's boss, conspired to have her committed to cover up financial fraud at Meridian Financial. They're drugging her to keep her quiet and planning to make her institutionalization permanent. I've attached evidence including financial records showing offshore accounts, recordings of Dad and Rachel discussing their plan, and medical documents showing how they're manipulating Mom's medication. They've threatened to have me committed too if I keep investigating. Please help us. Mom doesn't deserve this. I attach the files, double-check the email address from Mom's old contact list, and hit send. The progress bar crawls across the screen, each second feeling like an eternity. When it finally shows message sent, I exhale a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Now comes the hardest part, waiting. The engagement party is even more grotesque than I imagined. Our house is filled with Dad's golf buddies, Rachel's coworkers, and various acquaintances who have no idea they're celebrating a relationship built on fraud and betrayal. I force myself to smile and nod as guests congratulate the happy couple, my skin crawling each time Rachel calls me sweetie, or Dad puts his arm around my shoulders. Isn't this wonderful? Rachel's mother gushes blushes, champagne glass in hand. They're just perfect together. And you're getting such a lovely new mother. I bite back the truth and mumble something about being happy for them. Every minute feels like an hour as I check my phone, the burner phone I bought with cash from my emergency stash after Dad took my regular one. No messages from Caroline yet. Rachel taps a knife against her glass, calling for everyone's attention. David and I want to thank you all for coming to celebrate our love, she says, her voice syrupy sweet. We've overcome so many obstacles to be together, and now we're finally starting our life as a proper family. Dad pulls her close, kissing her temple. When you know it's right, you just know, he says, and the crowd awes appreciatively. I excuse myself to use the bathroom, needing a moment away from their performance. In the hallway, I check my burner phone again. Still nothing from Caroline. Maybe she didn't believe me. Maybe the email went to spam. Maybe. The doorbell rings. Through the frosted glass panels, I can make out the silhouettes of multiple people standing on our porch. Rachel opens the door, her perfect hostess smile freezing when she sees who's there. Rachel Winters? A man's voice asks. Yes, I'm Detective Morales with the Financial Crimes Division. We have a warrant to search these premises. The party goes silent as 3 police officers and a woman in a suit enter our foyer. I recognize her immediately from old family photos, Aunt Caroline. What is the meaning of this? Dad demands, pushing through the stunned guests. Caroline spots me in the hallway and gives me a slight nod. David Coleman? I'm Caroline Bennett, Lisa's sister. These officers have questions about some financial discrepancies at Meridian, as well as concerns about Lisa's current medical situation. Rachel's face drains of color. This is ridiculous. We're in the middle of our engagement party. I'm aware, Caroline says coolly. I received some very disturbing evidence earlier today that warranted immediate action. Dad's eyes find mine across the room, and I see the moment he realizes what I've done. You need to leave, he tells the officers. This is a private residence, and you're interrupting a celebration. Detective Morales unfolds a document. This search warrant says otherwise, sir. I suggest your guests depart while we conduct our business. The next hour is chaos. Guests murmur awkwardly as they file out, shooting curious glances at the officers now combing through Dad and Rachel's home office. I sit in the kitchen with Caroline, who keeps one hand protectively on my shoulder. You did the right thing, she tells me quietly. I'm so sorry. I wasn't around to help sooner. Will Mom be okay? I ask, my voice small. I've already filed emergency motions to review her commitment and medication regimen. A judge granted them immediately after seeing the evidence you sent. She squeezes my shoulder. We're getting her out today. From the study, I hear Rachel's voice rising hysterically. This is all a misunderstanding. Lisa was unstable. Ask anyone at the office. Is that why you increased her medication every time she started remembering details about the fraud? Detective Morales asks. The hospital records show a clear pattern of medication adjustments corresponding with her moments of lucidity. Dad remains silent as an officer leads him to the living room, reading him his rights. He won't look at me. 3 days later, Mom comes home. She's still thin and moves slowly, the effects of the medication not completely worn off, but her eyes are clearer than I've seen them in months. She cries when she sees her bedroom, now stripped of all Rachel's redecorating. I knew you'd figure it out, she whispers as I help her unpack the few belongings she had at the hospital. I just didn't know if anyone would believe you. Caroline believed me, I say. As soon as she saw the evidence, she knew exactly what to do. Mom smiles sadly. My little sister always was a bulldog when it came to justice. I should have reached out to her years ago. We're staying with Caroline until the case against Dad and Rachel goes to trial. They're both out on bail but under strict orders not to contact us. The preliminary hearing revealed the full scope of their crimes. Systematic fraud, totaling over $3.2 million, conspiracy, unlawful imprisonment, and medical abuse. Elaine Mercer and other colleagues from Meridian have come forward with additional evidence of Rachel's manipulation of company records. Dr. Feldman, the psychiatrist who adjusted Mom's medication at Rachel's request, is cooperating with prosecutors in exchange for leniency. 6 months later, we sit in the courtroom as the judge delivers the sentences. Rachel gets 12 years for fraud, conspiracy, and unlawful imprisonment. Dad receives 8 years, his sentence slightly reduced for eventual cooperation with investigators. As they're led away, Dad finally meets my gaze. There's something like regret in his eyes, but it's too late for that now. Rachel stares straight ahead, her face a mask of cold fury. Outside the courthouse, reporters ask how we feel about the verdict. We're just focused on healing, Mom says, her arm around my shoulders. She's almost back to her old self now, stronger, clearer, determined to rebuild our lives, and making sure nothing like this happens to anyone else. Later that night, as we sit on Caroline's porch watching the sunset, Mom takes my hand. I keep thinking about how close they came to getting away with it, she says quietly. If you hadn't been so persistent. I knew something was wrong from the beginning, I tell her. The way Rachel knew everything about us, how quickly she moved in after you were gone. It never made sense. Mom smiles, a real smile that reaches her eyes. You know, your father always said you were too curious for your own good. Turns out, you were curious enough for both of us. I lean my head against her shoulder, feeling for the first time in months that we might actually be okay. The road ahead is still long therapy sessions, legal proceedings, rebuilding our lives, but we're facing it together. And this time, no one is going to silence either of us.